You ever come across a story that you thought was over, but then suddenly it comes roaring back, louder, messier, and darker than ever before? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now with the Tyler Robinson case. See, for months it felt like the whole world had moved on. Tyler's name was fading from headlines, the conversations were dying down, and people were starting to forget. But recently something changed. A new wave of information, public debates, and shocking statements from major figures like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk have thrown this case right back into the spotlight. And trust me, it's got everyone talking again. Now let's rewind a bit. Tyler Robinson, a name that first captured national attention after a mysterious incident that sparked countless online theories, divided opinions, and left people asking one simple question: what really happened? At the time, reports were conflicting. Some people painted Tyler as a victim, others not so much, but one thing everyone agreed on: there were too many unanswered questions. Fast forward to now, and it's like history is repeating itself. Late last week, social media started buzzing again after a new clip began circulating, a clip that many claim shows new evidence about Tyler's final days. Within hours, hashtags like Justice for Tyler and Tyler Robinson Truth were trending across X and TikTok. And that's when things got really interesting. Big names, people who usually stay far away from stories like this, started weighing in. Candace Owens, who's never shy about saying what's on her mind, dropped a post that had everyone on edge. She said, "If people knew what I know about Tyler Robinson, they'd stop repeating the mainstream narrative." Boom, just like that, chaos. Thousands of comments, videos, podcasts, all dissecting what she meant. Was she hinting at corruption, a cover-up, or was she just stirring the pot for attention? Nobody knew for sure, but one thing was clear: this case wasn't dead anymore. Even Charlie Kirk jumped into the conversation, echoing similar sentiments, calling for transparency and truth. And from there, it spiraled. The story evolved from being just about Tyler to being about who controls the narrative and who we can trust in the media. But here's what's wild: people who were actually close to the situation, including those who once stayed silent, are starting to speak up again. And some of what they're saying doesn't line up with what we were told last year. So, what exactly resurfaced? Who's behind the renewed push for answers? And more importantly, what did Candace Owens really mean by her cryptic post? We're about to dig into all of that, because this time the story's not just about Tyler Robinson. It's about influence, media power, and the truth that someone somewhere doesn't want you to know. Let's talk about what Candace Owens said next, and why her comments may have changed everything. You know, when someone says something online and it just explodes, that's exactly what happened the moment Candace Owens opened her mouth about the Tyler Robinson case. At first, people thought she was just giving her usual hot take. But no, this time her tone was different, sharper, almost personal. During a podcast segment last week, she looked straight into the camera and said, "If people knew what I know about Tyler Robinson, they'd stop repeating what they're told." Boom, internet chaos. Within minutes, that single line spread everywhere: clipped, reposted, remixed, analyzed. People were pausing the video, zooming in on her expression, reading into every single word. You could feel the tension online. It wasn't just gossip anymore, it felt like she was hinting at something big. Now, if you've followed Candace for a while, you know she's no stranger to controversy. But this hit differently, because she wasn't talking politics. She wasn't debating culture. She was touching a case that's still raw for a lot of people, one that already divided the public in half. And here, where it gets interesting, a few hours later, Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, jumped into the conversation. He tweeted, "The Tyler Robinson story deserves transparency. Too many people are afraid to ask questions." That's when people started connecting the dots. Was there something going on behind the scenes? Were Candace and Charlie onto something the rest of us weren't seeing? But then, and this part gave everyone chills, a user on X uploaded screenshots allegedly showing messages between Tyler and a well-known conservative influencer just days before his death. The account didn't name names, but that was enough to send the internet into full-on detective mode. Threads, theories, timelines, people were digging up everything. And through it all, Candace stayed quiet. No clarifications, no follow-up, just that single, loaded statement echoing across social media. It made people wonder, does she know something we do, or was it just her way of keeping the narrative alive? Now here where the emotional twist comes in. Tyler's family, who have mostly stayed private since everything happened, broke their silence. In a heartbreaking post, Tyler's sister shared a photo of him with the caption, "Let him rest, please." You could practically feel the pain behind those words. It reminded everyone that behind all the theories, hashtags, and videos, this was still someone's son, someone's brother. But even that plea didn't slow things down. The more people begged for peace, the louder the conversation grew. So what's next? Why is Candace refusing to elaborate? And what made Charlie Kirk suddenly care so much? We'll get into that because what happens next might explain why this story just won't die down. You know that moment when everything starts connecting and suddenly the story you thought you knew doesn't feel the same anymore? That's exactly where things took a turn in the Tyler Robinson case. After Candace Owens dropped her cryptic comment and Charlie Kirk backed her up, the internet turned into a full-blown investigation board. Everyone had a theory. And honestly, some of them were wild, but a few actually made people pause. Let's rewind for a second. The official report said Tyler Robinson was found in his apartment, cause of death still under review. No foul play confirmed, no suspects announced. But here's the thing, a few days before he died, Tyler had posted a short video on his private Instagram. It was only up for about an hour before it disappeared, but not before someone screen recorded it. In that video, Tyler looked uneasy. He said, "If anything happens to me, just know it wasn't random." Yeah, you heard that right. Those 9 words changed everything. The moment that clip resurfaced, it went viral. People started linking it to Candace's statement, to Charlie's tweet, even to rumors of a project Tyler was allegedly working on, something about exposing manipulation in the media. Now, was it real? Nobody could confirm, but online investigators began piecing together a timeline that made the whole thing feel off. Apparently, Tyler had recently met with a political content creator known for uncovering controversial stories. Then, just 3 days later, his phone went silent. No calls, no messages, nothing. And guess what? When the police report was released, the section about his phone data was completely redacted. People lost it. Everyone was like, wait, why would they hide that? Meanwhile, Candace Owens posted a story on Instagram, just black background, white text. It said, "Truth always resurfaces." Simple, chilling, perfectly timed. So now the theory split into 2 camps. The first group believes Tyler uncovered something massive, something connected to powerful people, and that his death wasn't just a tragedy. The second group says this is all internet overreach, that Tyler had been struggling privately and people are twisting his words for views and clicks. But here, where it gets complicated, someone from Tyler's old production team allegedly leaked emails that hinted at tension between him and a big-name media sponsor. The emails mentioned a warning and the phrase, "off script." Yeah, off script, that one word gave people chills. Because if Tyler really went off script, that means he was saying things he wasn't supposed to, and if that's true, it completely changes how we see what happened next. So, was Tyler Robinson silenced, or is this all just coincidence and social media frenzy gone wild? Either way, by this point, the narrative wasn't just about Tyler anymore. It had become a mirror reflecting how much power the internet has to build or break a story. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get crazier, Section 4 takes us right into the shocking revelation that left even his closest friends speechless. Trust me, you don't want to miss this part. Alright, deep breath, because this is where everything flips. So, after weeks of speculation, hashtags, and theories flying everywhere, people started to move on. The internet does that, right? One day it's chaos, the next day it's quiet. But then, out of nowhere, something dropped. An audio clip. It was allegedly between Candace Owens and Tyler Robinson, recorded just a few days before his death. At first, nobody believed it was real, but when you hear that voice, you just know. In the clip, you can hear Tyler saying, "Candace, they told me to stop. They said I was making too much noise." Then Candace's voice cuts in low, almost like she's whispering, "You knew this would happen if you kept pushing." And then silence. No one speaks for about 10 seconds, just breathing. It's chilling. When that clip leaked, the internet lost its mind. TikTok, X, YouTube, everyone replaying it, dissecting every pause, every tone. And the reactions, you could feel the collective heartbeat of millions sinking in disbelief. People started asking, wait, who's they? Was Tyler being threatened? Was Candace trying to warn him or silence him? No one had answers, but what came next made it even stranger. A blurry photo surfaced supposedly showing Tyler being led into a black SUV days before he was found dead. It looked like security footage, time-stamped 48 hours before his reported time of death. Now, skeptics said it was fake, but others claimed it matched the exact parking garage near his studio. That's when Ben Shapiro, who had been quiet the entire time, finally spoke up. On his podcast, he said, "Enough with the conspiracy theories. Tyler was a friend. He made choices that led to a tragic outcome. That's all there is to it." But you know how the internet is. The moment he said that's all there is to it, people took it as proof there was more. Comments flooded in. Why is Ben so defensive? Why won't anyone show the actual police report? Candace said truth resurfaces. Is this what she meant? Even Elon Musk jumped in with a cryptic post that just said, patterns. And that one word, patterns, reignited everything. Suddenly, the Tyler Robinson case wasn't just a story. It was a movement. People demanded transparency, reporters started digging, and even former Turning Point insiders hinted that there was more going on behind the scenes than anyone wanted to admit. And you could feel it, that uneasy silence right before something big breaks. So where does that leave us? Well, that's the haunting part, because after all the leaks, the clips, the whispers, there's still no final answer. Was Tyler's death a tragic coincidence, or was he silenced for something bigger? The truth is nobody knows, not yet, but one thing for sure, this story isn't over. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to subscribe, because the next time I hit record, we might finally uncover what really happened to Tyler Robinson. And trust me, you're going to want to be here when that truth drops.